Hello everyone, this is Showtime 112. The second day of April 1917 on the Arras front saw most of the action take place in the morning, as the weather worsened in the afternoon. The British were determined to send as many observation airplanes as possible over the front, and among the first to take off were 5 Fe-2 two-seater machines from 22 Squadron. If you missed the previous two episodes covering the Bloody April period of 1917, you can find the links in the video description. The Fe-2 was an obsolete pusher-type aircraft which by the spring of 1917 stood little chance against the more advanced German scout planes. However, with the major Nivelle offensive, placing heavy demands on the Royal Flying Corps at an awkward time, just before a major modernization program, the British service did the best it could with the equipment available. After crossing the front lines north of Peronne, one of the camera-equipped machines turned back due to engine problems. German observation posts quickly reported the intrusion, and Yachte 5, based at Bois-Tancourt, about 10 kilometers southeast of Cambrai, promptly reacted by launching their Albatros scouts. At the time, this unit operated a mix of Albatros D3 and D2 fighters. German pilots often remained on the ground until enemy formations were spotted by frontline observers, rather than flying standard patrols and risking running low on fuel at a critical moment. The German formation spotted the British aircraft at about 8:30 am, southwest of Cambrai, and attacked. The British Fe-2 crews, joined by several DH-2s from No. 24 Squadron, reported seeing no fewer than 18 Albatros scouts, arranged in two groups. The camera-carrying machine was quickly hit and fell away. Neither of its crew members, 2nd Lieutenant Patrick Russell and Lieutenant Loveland, survived. The victor was Offiziersstellvertreter Edmund Nathanael, who had already scored 5 victories. During the engagement, an Fe-2 crew consisting of Captain Claude Fox and 2nd Lieutenant Leonard Welford reported hitting an Albatros and seeing it fall out of control. They then observed the DH-2 finish off the damaged German aircraft, which eventually crashed to the ground. A flight of British DH-5s from No. 24 Squadron soon joined the fight, and their pilots claimed no fewer than 3 German planes destroyed or sent down out of control. Interestingly, there are no recorded losses on the German side. British authors Franks, Guest and Bailey, in their detailed account of the aerial battles of Bloody April, state that German records were very accurate in noting aircrew losses, but less so when only the aircraft was lost and the crew survived. This could explain many British victory claims that lack corresponding German loss records. The airplanes might indeed have been destroyed or written off, but if the pilots lived, the losses were perhaps not recorded. I haven't seen confirmation of this practice from another source, however. Another explanation might be that British pilots occasionally mistook friendly aircraft going down for German ones. In any case, the remaining 3 British Fe-2s survived the encounter and Yachte 5 eventually withdrew. Another clash between British and German aircraft took place around the same time. No. 60 Squadron, based at Le Hamon and equipped with French-designed Nieuport 17 fighters, sent out an offensive patrol between Arras and Gommecourt. After crossing the enemy lines, they encountered Albatros D3s from Yashta II. Each side claimed one victory. Second Lieutenant Charles Hall sent an Albatros spinning down over Fontaine-Notre-Dame. But No. 60 Squadron lost an aircraft flown by 2nd Lieutenant Vaughan Williams, who was shot down by Otto Bernat. German records list no losses for Yashta II that day. At about 10:30 am, No. 43 Squadron sent 6 Sopwith 1.5 strutters led by Captain Donald Rutter on another photographic mission. After crossing the lines, they entered the patrol area of Yashta 11, the German fighter unit led by none other than the famous Red Baron, Manfred von Richthofen. The ace had already added to his tally that morning, shooting down a BE-2 flown by Lieutenant Pat Powell for his 32nd victory. In his memoirs, von Richthofen describes how he was visited by his friend Werner Voss, another of Germany's top aces. When Voss prepared to head home, the Red Baron accompanied him part of the way. The two aces flew across the front, though the weather was deteriorating and they were losing hope of finding enemy aircraft. As they watched the dense cloud beneath them near Arras, they were joined by none other than Manfred's brother Lothar, who had recognized his red-painted Albatros. The German formation of aces eventually encountered a group of British airplanes, the Sopwiths of No. 43 Squadron. The Red Baron mentioned seeing 9 of them. In return, one British pilot, 2nd Lieutenant de Berigny, reported 5 Albatros scouts following the formation. The British tried to evade, but the last aircraft in their formation failed to escape the German pursuit. De Berigny saw one of the enemy fighters attack the Sopwith to his left, flown by 2nd Lieutenant Algernon Peter Warren, with Sergeant Ruel Dunn as observer. This was the aircraft attacked by von Richthofen, who described his opponent as an experienced airman and a good shot, suggesting that the British crew put up a strong fight. As the combat continued, wind pushed both machines back over German lines, and the British pilot eventually dove through the clouds in an attempt to escape. The Red Baron did not give up, following closely and firing at the fleeing Sopwith. He eventually noticed white fuel vapor trailing from the aircraft, and its engine stopped, forcing 2nd Lieutenant Warren to land. According to Warren, Sergeant Dunn was mortally hit in the abdomen during the initial attack, and perhaps realizing he would not survive, continued to fight with remarkable determination. Despite damage to his airplane, Warren managed to force land it near Givenchy. What followed is disputed. According to von Richthofen's memoirs, the rear gunner, Sergeant Dunn, fired the burst at him while on the ground, damaging his machine. The pilot, Second Lieutenant Warren, however, later insisted that this never happened, and that von Richthofen strafed the downed 1.5 strutter instead. The Red Baron's memoirs don't directly confirm such an act. He only wrote that Werner Voss later commented he would have shot the enemy aviator on the ground in that situation, to which von Richthofen added that perhaps he ought to have done so himself. This could be interpreted as a later editorial addition intended to present the German ace in a more favorable light. Sergeant Dunn died 6 hours later, while Second Lieutenant Warren was captured. The Red Baron thus claimed his 33rd victory. A great deal was happening on 2nd of April 1917. The British suffered 8 losses that day, including 3 FE2s, 2 BE2s, 1 Nieuport 23, 1 Sopwith Pup, and 1 Sopwith 1.5 strutter. At the same time, they claimed 5 German aircraft destroyed and 2 driven out of control. Only 4 German losses can be matched to those claims. The French also claimed 1 enemy airplane in this sector, while losing 2 of their own. Let us know in the comments how you're enjoying the series so far. Thank you for your time and keep watching Showtime 112.